I'm Anna Garcia right now on a special edition of True Crime News. They met him at church.
I was pregnant and needed a doctor.
A trusted doctor to generations of families in a small, affluent town.
Right off the bat, he was giving me special treatment.
But now, more than 200 patients say Dr. David Farley is a monster with a medical degree.
He was just supposed to be checking my cervix.
My body knew something was wrong.
Shocking claims of unnecessary pelvic exams on underage girls, inappropriate photos, checkups in his bedroom. Now these women are fighting back and speaking out exclusively on True Crime News about their nearly $1 billion civil lawsuit and their push to put this alleged dirty doctor behind bars.
This man is a monster.
Your daily source for true crime starts right now. Thanks for joining us. We begin with a group of women in Oregon who say they put their faith in the hands of the wrong doctor, a man referred by their friends in the Mormon church who'd been caring for families in town for years. But something was wrong. Many say that they were assaulted after he used false medical reasons for unnecessary and inappropriate examinations. Their allegations are disturbing to hear. But the women have come forward to prevent this from happening to anyone else.
Westland's a really special place. When my husband and I moved here, it just felt like home. The schools are known for being some of the best in the state, really low crime rates. We feel really safe.
For Katie Medley, moving to Westland, Oregon was easy. A new place to raise her family, and the Mormon church would provide the support to help her settle in.
You always have someone who you can call. You always have someone who can help you out.
It's also what attracted Lisa Pratt.
It really brought this sense of kind of safety and security that I was really looking for at the time.
The two moms who had so much in common became fast friends, living across the street from each other, going to the same church, and raising their families.
I was actually pregnant with my third child and needed a doctor.
Lisa and Katie were both pregnant and in need of a new doctor, so it made perfect sense to ask people within the church for a recommendation.
That's the special thing about those people in that church, but it's also what makes it an incredibly vulnerable place.
Vulnerable, Katie says, because inside this place of worship was a secret, one that many knew about, but few would say out loud, and they would only learn after other women pointed to this man, Harvard-educated Dr. David Farley.
Right off the bat, he was giving me special treatment.
They say at first it felt like a blessing. Dr. Farley went out of his way to make things easy, even giving them his personal cell phone number if they needed help. Then Lisa Pratt says her opinion quickly changed when she reached out in a time of need.
I was 38 weeks pregnant, in a lot of pain, just ready to get that baby out. I had texted him, was there any way he could squeeze me in that day? And he called me immediately and said, I'm actually not in the office today, but I'm at home. If you want to come by, I'm happy to see you.
Lisa says at first she felt lucky, but things changed once she arrived and was taken inside his bedroom.
It was scary. I was alone in a room with him. Felt like I should have maybe listened to my husband before I walked out the door, and he was like, wait, what are you doing?
Katie says she went to see Dr. Farley in his office and says he examined her with his ungloved hands in a way that felt more sexual than medical.
I just remember sitting in my car and having that kind of weird sexually stimulated feeling and just having this major disconnect because I didn't understand what just happened.
Katie and Lisa say they were confused and didn't say anything for a long while until Lisa says she brought up the courage to ask Katie.
Hey, have you ever had a weird experience with Dr. Farley? I just said it, and I mean, her face just went white, and she put her head in her hands and said, why are you asking me this?
I'd been working so hard to bury that for months. Just trying to tell myself that it wasn't real, that it hadn't actually been what I thought it was. And there's so much power in someone just asking that question or validating what you already know in your body.
Katie says that's when she realized she had been sexually assaulted. The friends decided to file a complaint with the Oregon Medical Board and learned they were not alone.
We got in contact with the medical board investigator, who was the very first person who validated us and believed us. He said, honestly, I've had about 20 women call me completely unrelated to you gals.
The Oregon Medical Board started investigating Dr. Farley based on complaints from women who said he was conducting unnecessary pelvic exams, but they would soon learn it also involved the most vulnerable.
The next day I spoke with Nicole Snow, and she's the one who then informed me that she was abused as a teenager, and that immediately just broke me.
My mom was not in the room, and I was alone with him. He told me that he wanted to make sex more pleasurable.
Nicole Snow says she grew up in West Linn, Oregon, and Dr. Farley was her doctor between the ages of 15 and 18.
As a teenager, I didn't have the vocabulary to tell my parents what I was feeling.
I feel like more people like you come into contact with us and we're able to add another voice.
Now, one by one, they would hear about other women who say they put their faith in the hands of a doctor who abused their trust. They would come together, unite, and fight. When we come back, the women take their fight to the Oregon Medical Board, but they hit a major roadblock.
At Humana, we believe your health care should evolve with you, and part of that evolution means choosing the right Medicare plan for you. Humana can help. Hi, my name is Sam Davis, and I'm going to tell you about Medicare Advantage prescription drug plans that can provide more coverage than original Medicare, including prescription drug coverage, all wrapped up into one convenient plan. With original Medicare, you're covered for hospital stays and doctor office visits, but you have to meet a deductible for each, and then you're still responsible for 20% of the cost. Next, let's look at Medicare supplement plans. If a service is covered under original Medicare, then a Medicare supplement plan pays for some or all of your Medicare deductibles and the 20% co-insurance, but they may have higher monthly premiums and no prescription drug coverage. Humana Medicare Advantage prescription drug plans include medical coverage, plus prescription drug coverage, with $0 copays on hundreds of prescriptions. Most plans include $0 copays for covered preventive dental services, vision coverage that includes vision exams, and a yearly allowance toward eyewear. Even hearing benefits that include routine hearing exams and coverage toward hearing aids. You can get $0 copays for in-network preventive services and $0 copays for routine vaccines. And there's worldwide coverage for emergency and urgent care when you travel. Plus, Humana also offers Medicare Advantage plans. Plans have $0 or low monthly plan premiums, and there's a cap on your out-of-pocket costs. So call or go online today to see if there's a Humana plan in your area and to get our free decision guide. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends on December 7th, so call now. Humana, a more human way to health care.
On the next True Crime News, a teen disappears.
They can't find her.
And the trail goes cold until a bombshell confession. On the next True Crime News, We're back with our investigation into Dr. David Farley, accused of sexually abusing his patients during their medical exams. Two of his former patients, Katie Medley and Lisa Pratt, say they were assaulted by Dr. Farley. And more than 200 patients, both women and minors, would also come forward with similar stories. But can they get justice?
This man is a monster, and we're going to do whatever we can do to make sure he doesn't get to touch another person.
These women are on a mission to seek justice against their former doctor, David Farley. Nicole Snow says she was under his care when she was a teen.
He brought up that he had a patient at a young age die of cervical cancer, and he wanted to check me to make sure that I didn't have cervical cancer.
It was a story the medical board heard over and over again. Complaints of unnecessary pelvic exams and other procedures to check for cervical cancer.
He said that him talking about a patient dying of cervical cancer should be on his business card, because that is his line that he loved to use on everyone.
And I was so young. I remember being afraid. And so I did. I said, fine, but I didn't know what I was consenting to.
After months of investigations, the Oregon Medical Board determined that Dr. Farley violated standards of care by giving unnecessary pelvic exams, engaged in sexual misconduct, and repeated acts of negligence, including taking pictures of the genitals of minor patients.
There was one word. It was ungloved. I read the word ungloved, and all of the lights turned on.
Sarah Adams says after hearing the stories coming from the women in Oregon, it all came rushing back. She says she was also under Dr. Farley's care when she was a young girl living in West Lynn.
I'd never been given a pelvic exam by a doctor, so I had no idea what to expect. It was uncomfortable. I now understand that what he was doing was highly inappropriate and did cause my body to feel things that no child should.
Sarah got in touch with the women and shared her story. Speaking exclusively to True Crime News, she says she remembers Dr. Farley taking photographs of her examination.
Asked me to participate in a medical study that he was doing on childhood puberty, and said that he was taking photos that my face wouldn't be seen.
The damage that has come from his abuse, that I live with every day, that I hear others live with every day, is horrific.
The medical board revoked Dr. Farley's license. He admitted that he had taken photographs of minors and advised the board that he could not provide the records, and deleted the photographs.
He coerced people to believe what he was doing was medically necessary, but it was for his own benefit.
Dr. Farley did not return several calls from True Crime News seeking a response about the allegations. The Oregon Medical Board investigator alerted the West Lynn Police Department of the claims. A criminal investigation was started.
It made me feel hopeful.
But as each woman told their story to the police, they say everything changed.
To go into that room and speak to the detective and have to explain to him what a female exam entails, what a speculum is. All of a sudden, all that was just washed away. I'm like, this is a joke.
Well, you were abused just about 10 times. Like, she was diminishing the amount of times I was abused at the hands of Farley.
They say they weren't taken seriously, that the detectives were not prepared for their claims. After the West Lynn Police Department says they spent months on the investigation, a Clackamas County grand jury opted against filing criminal charges.
There was anger, there was yelling and shouting. It feels surreal.
Like, wait, what do you mean? Like, he admitted to the medical board that he took pictures of children's genitals. How is that not enough?
Not enough for the grand jury to indict, but the women weren't done.
West Lynn PD has failed us.
They brought their fight here to the West Lynn City Council that commissioned an independent investigation into the police department's handling of the case.
We were dismissed, invalidated.
They issued this report saying many policies were not followed, including the detective did not have any specialized training in interview techniques to sexual assault investigations, that interviews from the victims were missing from the files, and did not secure items from Farley, even after he admitted to taking photographs.
It doesn't make sense, and I am angry at all of the institutions who have failed us, and all of them have.
We wanted to hear from the West Lynn Police Department, but they declined to speak to us. Instead, they gave us a written response saying in part that they could and should have done better. The women now say they're moving on to the next phase of their justice.
Our entire mission from day one of this has been to get a predator off the streets. And if a civil lawsuit is how we need to do that, we will do it.
Up next, Dr. Farley's alleged victims file a monumental billion-dollar civil lawsuit, and they're not done fighting to have the doctor criminally charged.
This is going to be really hard because he's a doctor and we can't just arrest a doctor.
Want to instantly look more attractive and years younger? The solution is whiter teeth. But you love coffee and tea, maybe even wine or smoking, and all of them stain your teeth and make them yellow. It's time you discovered Power Swabs, the fast 5-minute revolutionary treatment.
The first time I tried it, I was so surprised. My husband was so excited that he wanted to run out and get it. He said, "What have you been trying?" I said, "Well, I've tried this product called Power Swab." And he said, "I can't believe how white your teeth are." From that point on, I've been sold.
Power Swabs are guaranteed to whiten your teeth up to 2 shades after the first application. After 5-minute daily treatments for the next week, your teeth will be an average of 6 shades whiter. Power Swabs will whiten natural teeth and remove stains from veneers, bonding, caps, and crowns.
This is a Power Swab smile.
This is a Power Swab smile.
Call, go online, or scan the code on your screen right now to receive 50% off this Thanksgiving. You'll also receive the Power Swab Stain Out Quick Stick, absolutely free. And in addition, you will get free shipping.
If there's a true crime you think we should know about, call the True Crime News tip line at 888-845-7555. Closed captioning and other considerations for true crime news provided by...
Hey, keep your head in the game, son. The scout from football college is up in the stands.
Maybe you'd rather go to school for insurance.
I didn't raise no insurance, man.
But you did, Dad. Football's your passion, but mine's providing around-the-clock protection to progressive customers who bundle home and auto.
Jamie, we need you out here for football.
You're giving up on your dream, James.
No, Dad. I'm giving up on yours.
Oh, James, wait! Oh, that's not the exit.
We're back now with our special investigation into Dr. David Farley, accused of sexually assaulting more than 200 patients. Despite their criminal complaints to authorities, a grand jury declined to indict him, but the case is far from over.
I felt angry because I knew I'd been, screwed over.
It's a battle these four women say they wish they weren't fighting. They are among over 200 women who want their former doctor, David Farley, held accountable for alleged sexual assault while they were his patients.
He was so coercive in an authoritative way.
But despite the Oregon Medical Board saying their claims were credible and revoking the doctor's license to practice, a Clackamas County grand jury declined to bring criminal charges against him.
It feels like they have had to work harder to not prosecute, to not indict, than it would have been for them to arrest him and charge him.
County District Attorney John Wentworth saying a loophole in Oregon state law prevented him from going after the doctor criminally, saying that the law, which has since changed, allowed a doctor to abuse patients under the guise of medical care.
Being told, just temper your expectations, this is going to be really hard because he's a doctor and we can't just arrest a doctor.
Wentworth defended his office in a lengthy op-ed in the local paper, saying his office acted appropriately. He added he wanted to set the record straight after an independent investigation found the Westland Police Department botched the investigation against Dr. Farley. The DA wrote that even though the grand jury of 6 women and 1 man knew the doctor admitted to taking photographs of children, they were also presented with expert testimony that they used to come to their conclusion. He went on to say that doctors must touch their patients in intimate places and that the medical context of these cases made proving criminal conduct difficult.
It's hard to really explain how desperate we felt at that point. No one had listened to us.
Dr. Farley has since moved out of Oregon to a small town in Utah. The women are now asking the Oregon Attorney General to investigate and file criminal charges. They have also filed a $1 billion civil lawsuit against the doctor, claiming sexual abuse, negligence, and emotional distress. Their attorney, former Orange County, California sex crimes prosecutor Courtney Tom, joined me to discuss their claims. Courtney, why do prosecutors not think that this is a criminal case?
Listen, as a former sex crimes prosecutor for close to 15 years, I've never seen anything like this. The goal of law enforcement, as we all know, is to protect the community. The fact that there's no indictment is absurd. Women turn to police, women turn to detectives to do the right thing. It's difficult work to prosecute a physician for sexual abuse. No one's making light of that. But when you have 200 victims saying the same thing, describing unthinkable, unimaginable abuse at the hands of their trusted physician, when is it enough for the police and for the DA in this county to listen?
Do you think that your civil case is going to push that?
These days, sometimes the path to justice is civil justice when criminal justice is slow to follow or fails. The path to criminal justice was botched. It was a botched investigation. It was a botched prosecution. The police in this case failed to obtain key evidence. When women went to the police department, to detectives, like I said, prosecuting, investigating sexual abuse by a physician is difficult. You listen, you do your job, and you fight to make sure that a prolific pedophile is off the streets.
Thank you very much, Courtney Tom. We'll be watching this case closely, and we will bring you updates right here and on TrueCrimeNews.com. We'll be right back.
When our country needed you, you answered the call. You took the oath, you served, and you sacrificed to defend our great country. Visiting Angels knows veterans. You are the heroes among us. and we are honored to serve you.
Visiting Angels, America's choice in home care.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
Try it this Thanksgiving for only $14.95 plus free shipping. Visit plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
On the next True Crime News, the teen girl mysteriously disappears on spring break.
He's like, she's in Myrtle Beach and they can't find her. And I'm like, what?
The main clue to finding her, the last place her cell phone pinged.
And I felt in my heart that she had made this decision that may have cost her her life.
Then the trail goes cold for years until a sting operation reveals a bombshell confession.
You're dealing with a serial rapist at this point.
On the next True Crime News. For the latest breaking crime news, go to truecrimenews.com. Watch more exclusive content on our YouTube channel, listen to our podcast, and follow us at My True Crime News. That's it for today's True Crime News. I'm Anna Garcia. See you next time, everyone. Crime doesn't stop, neither do we.